Team deathmatch. Let's do this.
Hey everyone, Team Deathmatch here, and this is What Could It Be Like episode 2. What Could It Be Like is a small sub-series that I run where I guess what an upcoming game or announced game could be like based on gameplay from its previous games. Okay, so this time we're gonna be talking about Crysis 3 and what could it be like. Now, before I start, here's some match information. My team wins barely by like time, but I get like a lot of kills, and the ending on how we win is pretty sweet, so you'll like it a lot, trust me. It was like we were losing so badly, but then like we get back on our feet. Now back to Crysis 3. Now Crysis 3, when I think what it's gonna do is going to incorporate elements from both Crysis 1 and Crysis 2. Because when you look at Crysis 1 and Crysis 2, you'll feel that they're different. Not like Legends of Zelda 1 and Legends of Zelda 2 different, but just that they were different. The main difference between Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 is that Crysis 1 had a slightly better story and that it was open world. And many fans were disappointed that the next game in the series was not open world, rather it was linear. But many fans liked the idea that they had improved the multiplayer greatly. Because Crysis 1 didn't have such a good multiplayer, and to be honest, Crysis 2 could have improved in its multiplayer a bit. Because like, when you look at Crysis, it's a game where you may want to focus more on the campaign of the game rather than its multiplayer. So, Crytek has also confirmed that Crysis 3 is in development, but it may take a while. Like, they've already mapped out the story for Crysis 3, but they haven't actually started like creating the game yet. Like there's working on other games like Time Splitters 4 and Homefront 2. And Crytek said that Crysis 3 is probably going to have some elements with both Crysis 1 and Crysis 2. So what I think they mean by this is that they're going to have like a multiplayer similar to Crysis 2's, but a campaign similar to Crysis 1's. So Crysis 3 may have an open world campaign, and in its story, I think it's going to be focusing on trying to defeat the Seth once and for all, because Crysis is a trilogy, so logically it would end at 3, unless you go all Halo and make a new trilogy. So, in the story, I think we might be playing as a new nanosuit soldier, because you see, in all Crysis games, you play as a different nanosuit soldier. In Crysis 1, you play as Nomad, in Crysis Warhead, you play as what's his name again? Oh yeah, Psycho. And in Crysis 2 you play as Alcatraz, so it would probably make sense that you're playing as a new nanosuit soldier. And I think in the campaign you might have a nanosuit 3, and I don't know what the nanosuit 3 could probably do. I think that it might have some new abilities, or maybe just might have the same abilities as a nanosuit 2. And as for gameplay in the campaign, I really hope that Crysis 3 might be open world, and also that I think that the gameplay of controlling the nanosuit, because in Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 it was kind of different, so in Crysis 3 I don't know what style they're going to go to controlling the nanosuit. I think it might be similar to controlling the suit in Crysis 2, where you press a specific button to enter a suit mode, or it's going to be like in Crysis 1 where like you just there are like 4 separate suit modes. Power mode, where you just like, or your character becomes strong and he's rapidly draining energy, or it has like a cloak mode when he's cloaked forever, armor mode, and like a 4th mode I forgot, but I think it's gonna be better if they retain the Crysis 2 element of how you control the nanosuit, because that seems like a little bit more fluent. And as for characters, I think we might see Nathan Gould again, and I think we might see like probably all nanosuit soldiers are still alive, and they might join the new one into like, I don't know, defeating the Seth once and for all. Because as you can see, Crysis is probably gonna end with Crysis 3, because like I said, it's a trilogy. So anyway, when we go into multiplayer, what I really hope they do is that they improve the kill cams a bit in Crysis, because Crysis 2 has really terrible kill cams that make no sense. And even one of the quotes you see while the game is loading is like, pay attention to the kill cam to see what went wrong, but like, how am I supposed to know what went wrong when the kill cams don't even make sense? And also, I hope that they try, you know, avoiding putting you in the same server, because I've noticed that in Crysis 2 sometimes the game has like a glitch, or it was intentional where they put you in the same server that you quit from or that you got disconnected from. I think it's not really nice to like put you in the same server you play as, because probably the server you quit from is already halfway through its game and you may have left on purpose. And also, like, I think that multiplayers should probably focus on avoiding putting you in a match that's almost over, or one team is like more than halfway near the score. They should probably put you to a match that has like just started or is like 2 minutes into the game. Oh yeah, and when you go back to the campaign, we also don't know who's gonna be like the new human enemy, because in Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 there are human enemies. Crysis 1 it was like the Korean army, in Crysis 2 it was like Cell, and since like both of these groups are now defunct due to the events that happened because of the main character, we might be getting like a new human group that's gonna be your enemy. I don't know, maybe it's just Cell trying to get revenge on the nanosuit soldiers because Alcatraz like totally dismantled their company, or that you might just be fighting the Koreans again and they've like returned with a vengeance or something like that. And when you look at the stuff from Crysis 1 and in Crysis 2, they were different. Like in Crysis 1, the stuff were like less adept individually but had really amazing vehicles, and in Crysis 2 like they had less entertaining vehicles but the stuff themselves were more adept. So I think that Crysis 3 is gonna merge that. They're gonna probably put really adept stuff that are like really strong like they were in Crysis 2, but keep them with like amazing vehicles, stuff like that. But that probably wouldn't make much sense because they said in Crysis 2 the stuff have evolved and it would not make sense if they're going back to their old vehicles. And when we go back to the multiplayer, I hope that Crysis 2 probably just works on its spawns a little bit. It doesn't have terrible spawns like in Battlefield 3, but just like I think they could really improve the spawning system in multiplayer for Crysis 3. And also I think that we might see new vehicles, not vehicles, I mean like kill streaks, and maybe you'll have the ability to choose your kill streak. That'll be pretty cool. And I think that the multiplayer might give us a little bit more weapons for like a bigger variety. I'm not saying that Crysis 2 has a small variety of weapons, it has a big one, but I think that they might just improve the weapon variety in Crysis 3 just a little bit. Like you just might add like a couple weapons, and I think that they probably are gonna add like a bit more perks, and like I think that we might see like some really cool maps. Maybe they might have really big ones that are really awesome for like big team battles like that. Oh yeah, and in terms of graphics, I trust that Crysis 3 will be really amazing in its graphical content, because as we all know, Crysis games are slightly famous for having amazing graphics that are ahead of its generation of gaming. So this is just my opinion on what Crysis 3 could be like. Team Deathmatch is out. See you guys, and let's hope that Crytek will make one of the best shooters ever.
Right, team.
See ya.
3, 2, 1. Nice job, team. Close, but nice.